Yes, welcome to day 2. Okay, and one more thing that I expect from aspirants is only consistency. I'll give best content. Okay, your consistency and my hard work will make you definitely economy. Yes, it will help you to crack the examination. And regularly we will post CSAT in our YouTube channel. And this program is free for 4 days. Students who are joining it, and no problem. For our old students, we will give certain exemptions. And this will be available in online and offline mode actually. Okay. This is so next. For these are the topics that we have discussed, and already you have asked me that there are questions related to here. From CSAT we are giving you the questions. Okay, explanation and static component explanation and care explanation. Current affairs, CSAT and static, and with respect to ethics you will get these ethics questions in your grand test. Okay, in the weekend in full length test, in general grand test after 6-7 days you will be having a grand test, and regularly with respect to mains you will get 2 mains questions from daily from current events, and with respect to grand test of this ancient India, grand test of medieval and modern, you will get completely static related questions for your mains. Okay. So, in your static exams of grand test you will be having complete static questions. Okay. And with respect to daily mains questions you will be having completely questions related to current events. Simple. Next. So, this and anybody can come and meet me in our about Muthut Finance, yes, every day at 5 p.m. in our New Delhi campus, and I will be available for all of the students. And coming to first question, consider the following statement. According to Manusmriti, means acquiring wealth are greater for man than for woman. And next, Buddhist recognizes the differences in society were inflexible in nature. What does it mean? Here, inflexible means they are ready to compromise. Okay, okay, it is acceptable, it is quite natural, such a kind of attitude, but it is not accepted by the Buddhism like that. So, it is not inflexible. So, second statement is incorrect. So, Buddhists did not recognize this difference in society, moreover they condemn these differences. And coming, yes, I am coming to the first statement. For men, the Manusmriti declares 7 types of acquisition of assets. 7 types. One is inheritance, next second finding, third purchase, fourth conquest, and fifth investment, sixth work, and next acceptance of gifts from good deeds and good people. Next, for women there are 6 types of acquisition of wealth. Women, here it may be given during marital ceremony, I mean in front of a fire, or any sacrificial or ritual practices in front of a fire. Okay, especially mostly marriage or bridal processions. Okay, women during that time will get wealth, and at the same time as a token of affection she may get wealth from her brother and mother or father, and she could also acquire wealth through any subsequent gift and whatever the affectionate husband might give. Okay. Next, second one, as I have said, this is Buddhism rejected the idea of claims of status on the basis of birth as well, and it did not encourage the idea of natural differences in the society. This is not natural, this is actually an imposed one, and Buddhism never compromise this idea. Okay. This. Next, consider the following statements with regard to Gomateshwara statue at Ravana Belgola. Here in Jain tradition, is my voice audible? Right. Okay. Consider the following statement with regard to Gomateshwara statue at Ravana Belgola. In Jain tradition, Gomata is the son of first Tirthankara Adinada. Generally, you might have heard about this word. Okay, it is not 23rd Tirthankara. He was considered to be first Tirthankara, it seems. Okay, and most of the historians claim that one. It is not 23rd Tirthankara Parshvanatha. So, first statement is incorrect, and it was made at the orders of Chamundaraja, a minister of the Ganga king Rajmalla. Yes, yes. Next, the statue was carved out of red sandstone. No, it was grey sandstone. Okay, grey, and it stands erect in Kayat Sarga pose. Means Kayat Sarga. Here, this is the pose that yes, very straight posture, and hands are actually very broad in nature, and the shoulders are broad and little apart from the main body. Okay, these hands are little apart from main body likewise, and it has nude in nature. This is the Gomateshwara statue, right? Nude, and also they are flanked by Eksha Ekshini, okay, flanked by the carvings of the Eksha Ekshini, flanked by the carvings of the, I mean beside, flanked by means beside carvings of Eksha and Ekshini. Beside the Gomateshwara statue, you see the carvings of the Eksha and Ekshini. This is Gomateshwara. Why have I given you this much detail and explanation? Because there may be possibility of such sculptural marvel related question for several times related to Buddhism, and most of the times this was deeply asked from Upendra Singh as well in recent years. Therefore, we have taken such direct statement from Upendra Singh. This is the original pick of this Upendra Singh book. It is quite difficult for you to search all concepts related to Buddhism related, which can be little associated with UPSC orientation, right. So, it is quite difficult for aspirants, that is why we are choosing these questions from Upendra Singh. In Jain tradition, Gomata or Bahubali is the son of Adinada, first Tirthankara. He is named as first Tirthankara. Gomata or Bahubali is the son of Adinada. Okay. And it was made the orders of Chamundaraya was a minister of the Ganga king Rachamalla, who ruled between 974 to 984. Okay. Next, the concept of Mahavratas was related to Anuvrata Mahavrata, Jainas, okay, and lay disciples, general lay disciples, followers of Jainism usually follow this Anuvrata, and they are termed to be Anuvrata, and Mahavrata is extreme penance that has to be adopted by the Jain monks. Okay. So, usually there are 5 vows in this Jainism, you know, that is Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya. These 3 have to be followed by Anuvratas as well, the general disciples of the Jainism. Ahimsa, yes, lay followers, lay disciples. Okay. Those follow these Grihasthas from these follow, okay, those people. But when it comes to monks, they have to adopt Aparigraha and Brahmacharya as well, okay, celibacy, and not to have any material position, not having any material position, not having any interest towards them. So, this material position can be allowed for these Anuvratas, and they may not be following this celibacy, they no need to follow these Anuvrata lay disciples. Okay. Such distinction was clearly mentioned, and this Anuvrata was advocated by which religion? Jainism. It was asked previously in UPSC Civil Service Examination 1995. Therefore, you need to understand the concepts related to Anuvrata and Mahavrata. Yes. Next, who among the following is the author of Vishuddhamagga, a Buddhist work?
Buddha Gosha.
Yes, good. Buddha Gosha. Actually, there were many chronicles and literature generated during the Buddhism, and mostly in Pali and Prakrit, and here Buddhism continued to spread in many parts of this Asian land, and while this can be understood as part of larger process of cultural interaction, especially trade, and key role was mostly played by monks. One such monk was Buddha Gosha. He travelled to Sri Lanka, and this Buddha Gosha in 5th century. In 5th century, Buddha Gosha travelled to Sri Lanka, and he translated several scriptural commentaries into Pali. His work was mostly in Pali language, and wrote a work called Vishuddhamagga. Vishuddhamagga means the path of purification. Vishuddhi means extreme purity. The path, Magga means Marga. This is in Pali Prakrit, they don't use this complex word formation. Okay, instead of using this marga, their phonetic observation is different. Magga, instead of calling Dharma Chakra Pravartana, they call it Dhamma Chakra Pavattana. Okay, the phonetic variation will be there between this Pali Prakrit and Sanskrit. So, here the Pali, they have called it as Vishuddhamagga. This is path of purification which soon attained the status of a classic work on Theravada doctrine and meditation. Theravada doctrine, which is very orthodox. Theravada. Okay. Next, Puramdara mentioned in Rigveda refers to. Here in Rigvedic, Pur means rampart or a fort or a stronghold. This means Pur. Here Indra, who was termed to be a war god of the Aryans, Indra, who was termed to be a war god of the Aryans, is called as Puramdara. Puramdara means fort destroyer. Fort destroyer. So, where were these citadels actually in Rigvedic time? Suppose that they were mythical in nature. These citadels were not actually excavated by any archaeological persons till now. So, we need to understand these mythical concepts. However, there were many archaeological evidences which were witnessed by several other figures also, but we need to decipher it on the lines of UPSC only, because we cannot consider these were absolutely true, because as of now, as per our NCERT standard reference book, themes in Indian history part 1, they are considering it as a mythical god and mythical citadels. It was not excavated by archaeologists as per unlike Mohenjo-daro, and it is clearly mentioned, unlike Mohenjo-daro and Harappa likewise. Next, consider the following statements. The name Bharata was used for, a group of people who lived in the northwest and who are mentioned in the Rigveda. And Rigveda mentions a famous Bharata king named Shambhara and describes his victory over Dasa ruler Divodasa, who had many mountain forts. Actually, it is not correct one, because there were 5 types of tribes existed during Rigvedic times, and one such strong tribesmen were Pura. Okay, I'll be telling you those 5 tribes here. Please go through this one. About 30 tribes and clans were mentioned in Rigveda. Out of them, 5 tribes were very strong: Edu, Turvasha, Puru, Anu, Druhyu. Edu, Turvasha, Puru, Anu, Druhyu. Okay. So, are collectively known as the 5 people. They are collectively known as 5 people. Panchajana or Panchakshatriya or Panchakristya or Panchamanisha. They are termed as 5 strong tribes during Rigvedic times. Out of 30 clans mentioned were Yedu, Turvasha, Puru, Anu, Druhyu. Next, the Purus and Bharatas are 2 dominant tribes during that time. Purus and Bharatas were 2 dominant tribes. I have just now told you that Puru was one such strong dominant tribe. Initially, they seem to have been allies, but at some point they fell apart, and the Rigvedic mentions a chief of these Purus was named as Trasadasyu. Chief of this Puru was named as Trasadasyu. And it also mentions, means Bharata and Puru, they were combined initially and they were unified. However, later they fell apart, and Puru was led by a king Trasadasyu. And Trasadasyu, it also mentions a famous Bharata king, yes, Divodasa, and describes his victory over Dasa ruler Shambhara, who had many mountain fortresses. Okay? Therefore, mentions a famous Bharata king named Divodasa. His victory over Dasa ruler Shambhara, who had many mountain fortresses. This is taken from Upendra Singh, early medieval India. It's not early medieval, so ancient and early medieval India. The book name is Ancient and Early Medieval India from Upendra Singh. With respect to our past one, we had different, at present, there might be a question possible with respect to distinguishing words related to our country, that is India and Bharat, it seems. Okay? 2 of the words we often use for our country, that is India and Bharat, right? And out of them, word comes from Indus, that is India, the word comes from Indus, that is called Sindhu in Sanskrit. And here, as per NCERT, our past one, chapter 1, page 4, it is clearly telling you that, because we have to rely on that, irrespective of other interpretations given by various newspapers, because we have to rely on government source, because it is published by Government of India. So, you need to understand that Iranians and the Greeks who came through the northwest about 2500 years ago, they were familiar with Indus, the term Indus, and they called it as Hindos and Indos. Okay. Therefore, it was named by whom? Greeks and Iranians, who called us Hindos and Indos based on the river Indus, who actually lie east of the river Indus. Okay. Because, and it was called India. The name Bharata was used for a group of people. Name Bharata was used for a group of people who lived in the northwest and who are mentioned in Rig Veda. Just now we have seen the Bharata, one such dominant tribe which was usually unified with Pura, and later they fell apart, and Pura was led by Trasadashu. And it also mentioned about Bharata king. So this Bharat was also mentioned. Bharata was one such great dominant tribe during Rigvedic times who lived in this northwest India and who are mentioned in the Rigvedic earliest composition in Sanskrit. Therefore, India named after this Bharata king, the Bharat name. Okay. An indigenous dominant tribesman, king he was. So, the Vedanga consists of, yes, as you know that, because you to understand the pronunciation and perfect proper recitation of these Vedas and understanding of the internal meaning of the Vedas, to understand the internal meaning of Vedas, you need to understand its phonetics, its grammar, okay, and to after understanding this phonetics and grammar, you will get to know what is written in Vedas and how you have to interpret them properly. So, these are termed to be Angas of the Vedas, that is why Veda Angas. Okay. So, Veda Angas literally limbs of Veda, limbs of Veda. So, aimed at helping proper recitation, use and understanding of the Vedas. And next, these include works and phonetics, that is Siksha. Next, Chandas means meter, how you need to rhythmically pronunciate it, the Chanda, meter, it has certain meter. Okay. Next, grammar, that is Vyakarana. Okay, the rules of and conduct for a language, how you need to use the parts of speech. So, that is grammar. Parts of speech related to Vedic hymns. Next, etymology, that is Nirukta, how a word is originated, how it evolved, that is related to etymology. Etymology is nothing but Nirukta means evolution of word, origin and evolution of a word. Okay, and every letter, how it evolved and how it was transformed into another meaning as well. Okay. So, decoding of the origin and evolution of a word is related to Nirukta, that is etymology. So, you have known about Siksha, that is related to recitation, pronunciation, phonetics, and next meter, that is how rhythmically you need to pronunciate by using various binary language codes, that is Chandasu, Guru Lagu. Okay. Next, grammar, that is Vyakarana, and next etymology, as they have said, that evolution of words and formation origin, and ritual practice is related to Kalpa and how you need to follow, what is the benefit out of it. Okay. The various principles and ideals are mentioned in this Kalpa. Okay. The actual essence of the ritual is told by this Kalpa. Okay. Ritual understanding. Next, astronomy, that is Jyotisha. Previously, it was termed as astrology. Now we are calling it as astronomy. Okay. In astronomy, the broad period of this composition of Vedanga was between 600 to 200 BCE, around 2500 years ago it was composed. That was the dominant period of our country. Next, Yaskas Nirukta, that means a work on the etymology of words in Rig Veda belongs to this 6th century. Okay. Yes, Askas Nirukta. Next, this is also given in Upendra Singh. Okay. The earliest literary reference to iron in Indian subcontinent are found in here, you will get to know. That is why you need to understand various questions taken from other sources. Here Upendra Singh has mentioned clearly that it was asked in UPSC CAPF examination in 2016. It is taken from what? That is related to Yajurveda and other Veda. Earliest evidence of such iron mentioned in Yajurveda, because earliest literary reference to iron in Indian subcontinent found in later Vedic literature, not pre-Vedic, okay, early Vedic. So, the terms Krishna Ayas, Shyama Ayas, are mentioned, that means the black or dark metal in the Yajurveda and Atharvaveda, which are part of this later Vedic literature. And next, clearly refers to the metal, and these are indications of the use of iron in agriculture. And Taittiriya Samhita of Yajurveda mentions about plows driven by 6 or even 12 oxen. Therefore, plows driven by oxen was also started, unlike Harappan times. Okay? In the pre-Harappan, even later phase of Harappan also, you did not find any usage of oxen, or they might have used oxen or men, it seems, during this plough field cultivation, right? Plowshare. But it is clearly mentioning that Taittiriya Samhita, Black Yajurveda, mentions the plough is driven by oxen, and these must have been heavy and may have been made of iron. Okay? Therefore, the plough was constructed by this iron. It was. And next, and one more, Satpatha Brahmana also mentioned about it. And sacrifices, Ashwamedha sacrifice also mentioned it. Okay? Next, consider the following statements with regard to Rigvedic age. What does it mean? Tribal assemblies such as Sabha, okay, and Sabha and Samiti exercised military and religious functions, only the political functions. Okay? Next, Vidhata is an officer concerned with the collection of taxes. Only second statement is true. Let us see tribal polity. In the Rigvedic period, king's post was mostly hereditary. However, it was not completely hereditary, it was not exercised as much, because king did not have unlimited power. He had to consult this Sabha and Samiti, and this tribal assembly, which is called as Samiti, has traces of elections as well. So, the king was called the protector of this tribe and protected its cattle and fought its wars and offered prayers to gods on its behalf. Okay? On this tribe's behalf, this king will offer some prayers to the god, and it is mostly a hereditary in nature, but it is not having ultimate power. He need to consult this Samiti, and which has a trace of election. Okay? Traces of election were also found in this Samiti. It is mentioned in this old NCRT. Okay? Next was, and offer praise. Several tribal assemblies such as the Sabha, Samiti, Vidhata, Ghana are mentioned in the Rigveda. These assemblies exercise deliberate military religious functions. Even women attended the Sabha and Vidhata in Rigvedic times. But two most important assemblies from political point of view seem to have been the Sabha and Samiti. Political point of view seem to have been the Sabha and Samiti. It was not related to completely military and religious functions. It was mostly related to political view. It was mentioned in the old NCRT. We have to rely on it. Next, these two were so important that the king showed eagerness to win the support. Next, consider the following statement. Jainism recognized the existence of gods. Jainism recognized the existence of God.
But as a perfect human being.
Okay. But they given more priority to Jina than that of the God. So, I will show you the original source of content. Please try. That is why I am displaying you original sources, standard sources. Okay. Similar to Buddhism, Jainism did not condemn Varna system. Okay. They emphasize, similar to Buddhism, Jainism did not condemn Varna system.
No.
First of all, Buddhism condemned clearly this Varna system, right? Just now I have told you that they are not inflexible. They clearly condemned that differences in the society. Next, they emphasized on non-violence, but Jainism accepted that difference in the society. Jainism, okay, not Buddhism. Next, they emphasized on non-violence, ahimsa, which prevented agriculturists from accepting Jainism. And since cultivation involved killing of insects, even Anuvratas had to follow ahimsa. It was quite difficult for them to follow it, not only Mahavratas. And Jainism recognized the existence of God, but placed them lower than Jina. Okay? This is more important. Here, look at this. It did not condemn the Varna system as Buddhism did. This is also important. And in his opinion that the Chandala means Mahavira looks for human values even in a Chandala. Mahavira had such a broader concept. However, in his opinion, through pure and meritorious life may make a person liberated from this world and rebirth as well. Next, it is not necessary to use any ritual for acquiring such a liberation. So, they did not follow any kind of ritual practice like Buddhism as well, which was followed in Hindu scriptures, right, in this one. So, next, and it can be obtained with right knowledge, right action and right liberation, and liberation are considered to be the 3 gems and ratnas of Jainism. Okay, knowledge, action and liberation considered to be the 3 ratnas of Jainism mentioned in the old NCERT, R.S. Sharma, page number 63. Okay, and Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, these are also few saints and monks mentioned in this. Yeah, not Jainism actually, it is mentioned, and these were given additional information for you. This is not related to the question, because I want to give you that additional information. Next, which of the following statements about Rig Veda is correct? Duties were worshipped through prayers and sacrificial rituals. Gods are presented as powerful who could be made to intervene in the world of men via the performance of sacrifices. Yes, actually gods are presented as powerful and they should intervene in this material world to make them beneficial, right. Next, the gods were supposed to partake offerings as they consumed by fire. Yes, the sacrificial material that you produce to the god during the fire, ritual practice was, there was a belief that it will be consumed by god. Next, and later priesthoods. Okay. Next, the sacrifice were performed in the temples. Please go through this statement. Here Rig Vedic time. Rig Vedic means early Vedic time. Early Vedic time, there were no such temple concept, especially when ritual and sacrificial practices are taking place, right. What? So, 4th statement is incorrect. Please go through this. Deities were worshipped through prayers and sacrificial rituals and hymns, fine. But when it comes to some sacrifices, these were domestic affairs and performed by householders, and others required participation of ritual specialists. Those are priests, but not in temples. 7 types of sacrificial priests mentioned in the Rig Veda. They are Hotri, Advaryu, Agnid and Maitravarna, Potri, Brahmana and Nestri. These were the 7 priests, prominent priests mentioned in the Rig Veda who performed these sacrifices on behalf of an household, okay, head of the household. So, next, Rig Veda reflects a naturalistic polytheism, a belief in many gods who personified natural phenomena. Okay, this is important, and the connection is clear in some cases. Very name of the deity, as in the case of Agni, Surya, Usha. Usha means dawn, Surya means the sun, and the Agni is a fire. So, these are, however, mythology of some deities stretched far beyond their association with a particular natural phenomenon. For example, Indra seems to have been not only this Agni, Surya in the Rig Vedic times, Usha, but also Indra seems to have been originally associated with thunderstorm, but later he rapidly outgrew this connection to develop a much more complex personality. Okay, he was named as Purandara, fort destroyer, a war god. So, they worshipped more this Indra god. Okay. Next, consider the following statements. Agriculture was the chief means of livelihood of the later Vedic people. For the first time, Vedic people came to be acquainted with rice in Doab. Next, the Vedic people continued to produce rice, but during this period wheat and barley came their chief crops. Actually, they continued to produce barley, but during this period rice and wheat became their chief crops. So, it was given ulta, 3rd statement. So, only 2 statements are correct, first 2 statements are correct. So, it is quite difficult for you to eliminate, because each of the statement has to be known to you. There is no option for you to eliminate. Therefore, this is quite difficult for you. And next, although, and one more thing, there is clear that they may prefer barley, wheat and rice, which was given more priority. It was also quite difficult. Barley was continued to be cultivated, but rice and wheat became dominant during that time. That had to be understood. Next, consider the following statements with regard to later Vedic period. Here, popular assemblies Sabha Samiti disappeared with the increase of royal power. It was not disappeared. Next, tribal authority tended to become territorial during this period. Yes, territorial during this period. Slowly Mahajanapada came into picture. They became territorial. Princes ruled over tribes. Their dominant tribes became identical with the territories, and which might be inhabited by tribes other than their own. So, such tribal domination of one territory over others were also increased. Okay. Next, which one of the following uses was a post-Vedic development? Yeah, this is very simple question. Grihasthasra, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. Yes, question was asked in civil service only 94 times. So, consider the following statement with regard to ritual practices of later Vedic period. Sacrifices became important and they assumed both public and domestic character. People worshipped gods, and second statement is talking about gods for the same material reasons in this period as they did in the earlier times. Have you identified the incorrect? Have you identified the incorrect? Have you? Which of the statements given above are incorrect? Here it is talking about incorrect one. Neither one nor two should be the answer. Yes. Have you first underlined the incorrect one? You misunderstood, right? So, please try to go through it. What? People worship gods for the same material reasons in this period as they did in earlier times. However, the mode of worship changed considerably, continued to be recited, but here sacrifices became far more important and continued to worship gods for same material resources, and these sacrifices became far more dominant this time. Okay, this is also important later Vedic time. So, both the statements are correct. So, neither one nor one is the correct one because they have asked about incorrect. Shaulika and Shulkadhyaksha during Buddha's period were. Shaulika and Shulkadhyaksha during Buddha's period were officers appointed to collect taxes. Yeah, usually artisans and traders had to pay customs on the sale of their commodities, and the tolls were collected by officers. Which of the following statements about bodhisattvas are correct? They were perceived as deeply compassionate beings who accumulated merit through their efforts, that is fine, and they made attempt to attain nirvana, that is incorrect one, because a new form of Buddhism, this Mahayana, which is developed in later parts of this Buddhism phase, and this had two distinct features. One is earlier, that is Buddha's presence was shown in sculpture by using certain signs. Symbolic representation of Buddha means the relics of the Buddha. Here sculpture by using certain signs. For instance, his attainment of enlightenment was symbolized with peepal tree, and statues of Buddha were made later times, Mahayana times, and many of these were in Mathura and while others were in Takshila. Next, the second change was a belief in Bodhisattva that these were supposed to be the person who attained enlightenment, who attained it. Okay, and once they attained enlightenment, they could live in complete isolation and meditate in peace. However, instead of doing that, they remained in the world to teach and help other people. Okay, persons who want to work for the enlightenment of others, these bodhisattvas. The worship of bodhisattva became very popular and spread throughout Central Asia, China, and later to Korea and Japan. Bodhisattva. So, they became very popular. Dialogue on Varna between King Avantiputta and Kanchana. Avantiputta and Kachana. A disciple of Buddha appears in which of the following Buddhist texts? There was a conversation between this King Avantiputta and Kachana. What was that conversation? The conversation is related to why Brahmins were considered to be a dominant caste, and they were given highest stance in the ladder of the society in the hierarchical structure. Therefore, this condition was opposed by Kachana, who was a Buddhist monk, and Sudras, actually if Sudras were wealthy, who will they appoint? Who are going to be their servant? Here they may appoint Sudras and Brahmins as well. Here wealth matters more. That was the statement given Kachana for thousands of years back. So, caste was not dominant, here wealth is going to be more dominant in nature. So, next, that was the story written there. Buddha's teachings, because NCERT stories which are given in the sides of the book page, so definitely there may be a possible question out of it. UPSC may sometimes suddenly pick one such as, I mean, that what do you call these small stories, these small story, yeah, statements will be framed from these small stories also. Okay, Buddha's teachings, and this was also asked in CDS exam 2018, this question, that is why we have taken that. Buddha's teachings were compiled as Tipitaka, literally meaning 3 baskets to hold different types of texts. Which of the following texts are correctly matched according to this subject matter? 3 Tipitaka, Vinaya, Sutta, Abhidhamma. 3 Pitakas are there. Tipitaka they call it in Pali Prakrit. So, okay, next coming to. Actually, this Vinaya Pitaka is about rules and conduct for this monastic order. So, it is given ulta, and Sutta Pitaka is about Buddha's teachings, and Abhidhamma Pitaka talks about the philosophy of Buddha. Buddha, especially the narratives given by the Buddha. The underlying philosophy of this narratives given by the Buddha are discussed in Abhidhamma Pitaka.
And answer is related to metaphysics and science.
Yeah. How Buddhist texts were prepared and preserved? Buddha taught orally through discussion and debate. Men and women, perhaps children as well, attended these discourses and discussed what they heard. Okay? And none of the Buddha's speeches were written down during his lifetime. Here Vinaya Pitaka is talking about rules regulations of the monastic order, and Sutta Pitaka is talking about this teachings of the Buddha, and Abhidhamma is about philosophy. Which of the following are prescribed as duties of Vaishyas according to the Dharma Shastra? Studying the Vedas, engaging in trade, get sacrifices performed. Actually, yes. Here it is, all 3 are correct. Here right occupation, that is Dharma, as per Dharma Shastras also, rules about the ideal occupations of the 4 categories are Varna. That is, suppose Brahmanas were supposed to study and teach Vedas, okay, and perform sacrifices, get sacrifices performed, and receive gifts from Kshatriyas and other traders, and protect people and administering justice is Kshatriya. Okay? Protecting people, administering justice is the responsibility of Kshatriya, and study the Vedas also. Get sacrifices performed and make gifts. And the last 3 occupations were also assigned to the Vaishyas, who were in addition that means to engage in agriculture, pastoralism, trade, and Shudras were assigned only one occupation, that is serving the higher Varnas. This was actually statement given in the themes in Indian history part 1, class 12, page number 61. So, there may be controversial and disputed things associated with it, but we need to consider NCERTs. Consider the following statement in the Rigvedic times. Dasyu was the first term used to refer the original inhabitants of India. It is also given in the NCERT. Aryans have said to arrive in India several ways. So, this was one such narrative by leftists associated literature, and they say that mostly, but in 2013 CAPF examination UPSC has given you 4 statements, which of the among given statements is considered to be most weakest argument with respect to declining of Harappan civilization. Okay? The weakest argument was about Aryan invasion. Aryan invasion theory was actually condemned and given as weakest argument as per our 2013 UPSC PYQ CAPF exam. Okay. So, that was the question. Aryans made extensive use of horses, chariot, and Rigvedic Aryans used superior arms made of iron. These were actually, they used to have these metals, that is iron, and they took this copper from Khetri mines as well. These were basics only, and taken from 84 question UPSC, and several times they have asked about the practices of the Arya and the metals and the objects, the things that were produced during that time. And the oldest of the Vedas chiefly contains collection of hymns to gods. And one more question related to this society in the early Vedic period was highly segmented, and Rigvedic mentions of various groups of artisans like chariot maker, weaver, potter. Yes, Rigvedic mentions about chariot maker, weaver, potter, and Vedic people possess better knowledge of agriculture, Rigvedic people also, this was also fine. And Rigvedic also mentions about artisan, yes, craftsmen, and being largely pastoralist during Rigvedic time. However, mentions of wars for cow and suggesting the existence of warrior class, okay, existing of warrior class, that was also mentioned. And difference between culture of Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley people, which of the statements are correct? It was a previous year question, UPSC. Here talking about Rigvedic Aryans used the coat of mail helmet in warfare, whereas the people of Indus Valley civilization did not leave any evidence of using them. So these were the statements. It was asked in 2017, it seemed. Rigvedic people knew gold, silver, copper, whereas Indus Valley people knew only copper and iron. Iron was not known to them, therefore it can be comfortably eliminated. When 2 is eliminated, only 1 and 3 are remain, and 1 is absolutely true, because it is mentioned in option A and C here. 2 is wrong and it is eliminated, eliminating that B and D options. So 3 has to be corrected or not, you need to check. Next, Rigvedic Aryans had domesticated the horse, where there is no evidence of Indus Valley people having been aware of this. So this is true, because as per our NCERT, just yesterday also we have discussed that they did not know about cow also, as per UPSC PVQ 1987 it seems. Consider the following pairs with respect to Vedic text. Okay, and it is only talking about Rigvedic hymns, prayers and Samveda. Samveda is about melodies and chants, and Yajurveda is about rituals, and Atharva Veda is about charms and spells, that is true, and Rigveda is about hymns and prayers. So only the Samveda, Yajurveda is given ulta here, reversed. And match the following regarding Upanishads, Samveda, Rigveda, Atharva Veda. So such similar question was posed here, because UPSC PYQ based question this is. Next one is, consider the following statements. Assemblies like Sabha, Samiti were open to women. Assemblies like open to women for attendance in early Vedic period. Early Vedic period. Please go through this early Vedic period. How can you say no? Please don't. Yes, because yeah, that is statement is true, but it is asking about incorrect. Yes, good. So you need to understand. Next, the later Vedic period saw the increased use of ochre colored pottery. Here they have used what? Pottery is more related to late Harappan and early Vedic literature. Okay, not Rigveda. The distinguishing pottery of later Vedic period was painted graver, not later Vedic period. It is late Harappan and early Vedic culture. This ochre related pottery, ochre colored pottery. But when it comes to this distinguishing pottery of later Vedic period was painted graver pottery. So the second statement was incorrect one. First statement was correct. Okay, it was asking about incorrect. Again, second mistake. Second mistake. So with respect to the Vedic period, the terms Rajasuya and Vajpaya refers to. Actually, yeah, office. Yes, Rajasuya ritual practices that increase power and prestige of the king. That is true. And because here there are many questions related to those ritual practices, and here the iron and metal that they were used during the early Vedic, later Vedic, Rigvedic, in Harappan times is also important. Nishka, the term, an ornament in the Rigvedic time, used in later times to denote coin. Nishka. Later Vedic time it was used to denote coin, but an ornament in Vedic period initially. Initially it was an ornament, the Nishka, later it was termed as a coin. Okay. Mostly people call Nishka as a coin, but they did not know it was transformed from ornament. Okay, that is important. It was UPSC PVQ, not from us, right? Consider the one. Chaitya monastery and Vihara, prayer hall, stupa, relics of Buddha. Stupa, relics of Buddha is fine, not all are true. Here Chaitya is prayer hall, Vihara is a monastery. It is reversed. The first and second statement is reversed. Here it is asking about incorrectly matched. Two are incorrectly matched again. Chaitya and Vihara are given reversed. Two are incorrect. So you have to choose two pairs, because it is asking about which of the above pairs incorrectly matched. Third mistake again. First two pairs are incorrectly matched. So Buddhist architecture, again you please go through this PYQ, because Chaitya's Vihara related question on comparison of Buddhism, Jainism related questions they were asked by UPSC. That is why we are twisting them in the match the following by giving you incorrect statements several times, asking you incorrect statements, pairs also.
Vihara means monastery.
Vihara is monastery. I mean, just for the sake of monks who want to take rest and some during the rainy times, most of the time. Okay? Yeah, Buddha. And Chaityas were actually the prayer halls. Next, consider the following statements: Buddha, Buddhism, Jainism accepts the existence of God. Buddhism, Jainism. No, Buddhism did not accept the existence of God. And next, both Buddhism, Jainism condemned the Varna system. Buddhism condemned the Varna system, and both Buddhism and Jainism received royal patronage from the rulers of Magadha. Good. Both Buddhism and Jainism originated in the 6th century BCE in Gangetic plains. Yes. Yes. Two statements are correct and first two are incorrect. Next, here related to Buddhism, Jainism, PYQ, comparative questions. Four times they have asked about such comparative question. We have taken only one such question, okay? Because many statements contained in this question, that is why we have chosen this. In 96 and several times, repeated earlier and also later times. So, avoidance of extremities of penance, it will be posted in the document. Please go through those PYQs. Consider the following statement. Statement 1: Ajatasattu hosted the first Buddhist council at Rajagriha immediately following the Mahaparinirvana of Buddha. And statement 2: Buddhist text describes Ajatasattu visits Gautama as both were contemporaries. Yes, it is actually, yeah, very good. Buddhist text actually talking about the conversation between Ajatasattu and Buddha, because Ajatasattu killed his father. Okay, that was termed patricide. Okay, he expressed his deep grief, remorse. Yes, Ajatasattu expressed his remorse for his patricide, remorse for his patricide expressed to Buddha. And Buddha later, and after that, when Buddha consoled him, and he went to Kushnara and he was died, and next Nirvana, he had Nirvana. And he is also credited with building many, who is Ajatasattu, building many stupas, relic stupas. Relic stupas means the signs, symbols and the tools, okay, used by Buddha, and relic stupas around Rajagriha, and repairing many monasteries in and around the city. Therefore, he conducted first council of Buddha, first Buddhist council after his immediate demise.
Sir, Ajatasattu is the stepbrother of Samrat Ashoka.
Huh?
Samrat Ashoka.
Ajay, no. That is different. Bindusara is different from Bimbisara. Both are different. Okay. Which of the following is a fundamental? Which of the following is a fundamental principle of Jain philosophy? Dharma, the moral and ethical duties, or moksha, liberation from the cycle of reincarnation. What is called reincarnation from? So, word Jaina means follower of Jina, means a victor who attained infinite knowledge and next teaches others to attain how to attain infinite knowledge, moksha. So, liberation from the cycle of birth, that is term. So, okay, these were various questions. Next, coming to 2013 question, Jain doctrine, and 30th question is about Madhyama Nikaya, Kalpa Sutra, Digambara. It is also asking about correctly matched one. Okay, Madhyama Nikaya. Actually, this Madhyama Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, this is related to Buddhist text. So, first statement is incorrect, first pair is incorrect. Kalpa Sutra is a Jain text. Next, Digambara, Svetambara, Digambara, two sects after a famine occurred in the Magadha kingdom, and later it was distributed into different parts, and people who stayed in the Magadha, they were considered to be as Svetambaras, and who went to this southern part of India, they are called as Digambaras. Okay. So, this is one such PVC question. I will be posting this document now in our Telegram channel, please go through it, KPIS daily channel, and this initiation will be uploaded in our YouTube channel for next 2 days as well, and later it will be for the students who subscribe to this course. How is this one? How is this session? Okay, 50 schedule?
Schedule is absolutely fine.
Okay. So, for just give me consistency, get rank, and the remaining things will take care. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, good.